Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. Now for today's video, I wanted to talk about something that comes from an earlier version of the Lost World Jurassic Park, where Roland Tembo would have gotten the chance to shoot and kill one of the wild tiger-striped raptors on Isla Sorna. So chances are, if you're watching my channel now, you're probably well aware of the fact that the second Jurassic Park movie went through a lot of different ideas and drafts during its early development. You'll also more than likely know that at one point in time, the movie was actually going to be incredibly faithful to the Michael Crichton novel it was based on. Although different, like its predecessor Jurassic Park, Lost World would initially have followed in the book's footsteps pretty closely when compared to what we eventually got. This faithfulness goes right down to having some of those camouflaging carnivores residing in the InGen worker village that everyone wanted to see back in the day. Of course, that idea would eventually get dropped in favor of something completely different. Now, in the final version, it is the raptors that actually have a noteworthy scene in the worker village, and they're kind of the ones that Spielberg spent the most time on during the final portions of the Site B part of the second movie. However, these raptor scenes were actually supposed to be filmed in conjunction with another species that would have taken up residence in the village. These other creatures would have been the InGen pteranodons, which in an earlier draft we would have learned had made their nests inside of the old buildings that got left behind. The raptors would be pursuing Nick, Sarah, Kelly, and her father, while the pteranodons were attacking the helicopters that were coming to pick everyone up. Now, what's really cool about this entire abandoned sequence is the fact that it would have run parallel to a separate adventure that was being had with Peter Ludlow and Roland Tembo. You see, after the Rexes ran through the hunter camp, Roland and Ludlow would be the only hunters left to really go forth with their mission on the island. In this version of the movie, everyone else got killed by the raptors in the long grass, but Roland did not tranquilize the bull Rex during the resulting chaos. Instead, he'd actually just continue using his 600 Nitro Express, take what few survivors were left, and make his way out to the operations building like they'd all planned. Interestingly, this portion of the story is also where I personally believe Jurassic Park 3 took some inspiration. I say this because Roland finds tyrannosaur urine inside of a massive footprint and uses the pee to put a territorial scent around the worker village in order to keep any small dinosaurs away, which is really similar to something Eric Kirby alludes to doing in that third movie. Anyways, there comes a point in the script where Ludlow and Roland break away from the main group in order to follow the T-Rex so that they don't go home empty-handed. If you're interested in what happens with them, I'll link you to the video I did where I actually describe every part of the screenplay in full detail. Trust me, if you're a fan of that movie, you're probably going to love the ideas that they had there. Anyways, that entire scene ends with Roland Tembo being left alone in the Site B jungle with no one to back him up. And with the InGen helicopters coming in to save the Gatherer team at the village, it looks like this may have been the last that we've seen of the big game hunter. Well, back at the operations building, things are looking pretty hairy as well. Kelly and Malcolm appear over the roofline with the pilots of the helicopters shouting for them to get inside. They both desperately try to make it there in time, but in a violent twist, a raptor claws its way over the edge of the building as well. Malcolm sees it as they lunge for the helicopter, but the Velociraptor is far faster than both of the humans. It closes in on them, just 10 feet away, then just 5. Then surely it's about to tear into them both and kill them right at the chopper's edge. And then, all of a sudden, we were supposed to hear what's described as the loudest single gunshot that's ever been fired, while the raptor flies off its feet and lands 10 feet away, dead as a hammer. Both Kelly and Malcolm would then look up to the source of the noise and see Roland Tembo standing at the edge of the roof, holding his smoking Nitro Express before joining them in even more awesome action. This would have included scenes like Kelly breaking one of the pteranodon's eggs on accident, and Sarah Harding further stating that the pterosaurs were only trying to protect their young. Again, something that would have hammered in that theme of parenting way more in the end. Now, personally, I have always found this scene to be awesome in design. I understand why it was cut from the film once they decided to take the Rex to San Diego instead of saving all of that stuff for Jurassic Park 3, but Roland Tembo is by far my favorite character in the entire franchise, and I just think giving him a scene like this would have been excellent to see on the big screen. In its place, we of course got the pretty great moment where Roland actually decides to stay away from InGen and even complete a character arc, which is like the only time that happens in the Lost World. So I love what they ended up doing regardless of them cutting this action scene. In truth, it would take 20 years for us to see humans actually fighting back and shooting down a dinosaur because of this deletion. Since Kelly is really the only human to have killed one of the animals, and that was through her crazy gymnastics routine. Stuff like rocket launching raptors that comes from the Michael Crichton books wouldn't be a thing until Jurassic World, which was released in 2015. The original trilogy kind of had a massive lack of that for some reason, and cutting this scene didn't really do them any favors. Nevertheless, I love it, and I wanted to share it with all of you because I know there has to be other people out there like me who are really into this stuff. And hey, who knows? Maybe someday we'll get some sort of relaunch of this scene in a future movie. Now before I go, I'd like to thank all of my game wardens, as well as all of my InGen executives. I'd also like to thank all of my park workers and InGen hunters as well. Guys, it seriously means the world to me that you've all continued to support me the way you do, and I never want you to ever forget that. Now I'd like to thank all of you for watching today's video, and hope you all enjoyed the content. If you feel like I deserve it, I'd appreciate the like and hope that you'll consider subscribing if you're interested in hearing from me again. I'll see you all in the next one, guys, and as always, take it easy.